Om Kriya Babaji Nama Om. What is the ultimate goal of Babaji's Kriya Yoga? One could answer this question in 2 words: complete surrender. But then one would have to explain what is meant by complete surrender. It refers to the surrender of the old egoistic perspective, to this perspective of one's soul. As with most saints, surrender begins with the realization that one is not the mind, one is not even the body, that one is pure consciousness within. And then the realization of the presence of the Lord. Usually the surrender ceases there, in the spiritual plane, because the mind and the body and the world is seen as an obstacle, a place to be left behind. Babaji and the Siddhas, however, realized that to be perfect, this realization could not exist in a neurotic mind nor in a diseased body. So they began to surrender themselves more and more deeply. When they surrendered themselves at the level of the intellect, they became what we refer to as a sage. A sage is one who is able to express himself or herself on any subject, not because of education, but because they're able to become one with the object under consideration. And in a sense, they know it from the inside. They can express themselves with great familiarity on any subject. When that surrender deepens even further and occurs in the level of the mind, then one begins to manifest what's called certain powers, divine powers or perfections, known as siddhis, such as clairvoyance, clairaudience, prophecy. When that surrender occurs even more deeply at the level of the vital body, greater powers or siddhis, divine powers, indicating the presence of the divine, begin to manifest, such as materialization, dematerialization, being in one more than one place at once, levitation. These are indications that the old human nature, the old conditioning, is being left behind and being replaced by the divine itself. They are only a problem if the ego, however, remains. So that surrender of the ego has to continue and include the physical body itself. When the cells of the body give up their limited agenda of metabolism, one becomes what's called a Mahasiddha, a great Siddha, and the divinity descends even into the cells, making the physical body invulnerable, resistant to disease, and able to live indefinitely. We have the example of Babaji, Agastya, Boganathar, and many others. For example, in the 18th Siddha tradition that we've written about, who have completely surrendered to the divine at all levels. In a sense, they are nothing special, because when you become one with everything, you are no longer apart, no longer special. One begins to get a glimpse of the ultimate goal of Babaji's Kriya Yoga when one studies the writings of Babaji and the 18 Siddhas. We have published these, for example, the Tirumandiram, a classic of yoga and tantra, the Kriya Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and the Siddhas, the Voice of Babaji, trilogy on Kriya Yoga, and the Yoga of Boganathar. Sometimes this ultimate goal is referred to as Kaivalya, which is often translated as aloneness. But it has an alternative meaning, which means absolute freedom. So the ultimate goal of Kriya Yoga is absolute freedom. And this implies also that the goal itself cannot be limited by a definition, because if it's limited by anything we can say about it, it becomes itself a kind of prison, a limitation. So in a sense we can say that the ultimate goal of Kriya Yoga is to be defined, ultimately by all of us collectively, as we as a human race begin to surrender, individually first and then collectively, to the descending grace of the divine, transforming our old human nature into a divine nature, which will be intimately connected, intimately in harmony with the will and the intelligence of the divine. This ultimate goal will occur progressively as each of us and as collectively we let go of the old, separate, egoistic perspective and surrender it to the perspective of our soul, realizing our absolute being, consciousness, and bliss. Absolute being, consciousness, and bliss is known as Satchitananda. May this surrender occur at all levels of your being. May this world be transformed as a result. Through the grace of the Lord, through our own intense practice of sadhana, may this goal be accomplished. Om Kriya Babaji Nama Om.